So it is officially 8 o'clock, which is a little bit late for us to start cooking dinner, but we did get these beautiful, what are these? Sirloin tender steaks. And we got potatoes, carrots, and broccoli, and a little bit of garlic parmesan basil to put on the steak. And then my dad usually uses a Blackstone grill, but I have a little mini Solo stove that we are going to try out to cook the steaks on. I have a cast iron skillet that we're going to sear them and everything. But yeah, this is going to be a full dinner cooked on a little mini Solo stove. So if you don't know what a Solo stove is, hang on, because we're about to show you.
Alright, so this is a Solo stove, which is just a camp stove. However, one of the things that is kind of cool about this particular stove is that it's relatively compact, as you can see. Not as small as like some stoves you can get. There's a lot of like backpacker type stoves that you can buy that are much more compact and small, but for what this does and for its size is pretty amazing. So we're going to show you how we use it, we're going to talk a little bit about it, tell you what we like about it, and we'll go from there. So anyway, first thing, I'm always a sucker for things that come in cases and bags, so it comes in its own little case, so gotta love that part of it. So anyway, I'm going to take it out just to kind of show you what it is. So it's not real big, but comes when it's all packed. It's basically just a little wood stove. It uses natural wood. Has this little screen that goes on the top that helps kind of. So the design in this thing is it's a double wall stainless steel stove, so it brings air in through here and basically brings it up through the middle of the stove, and then it reburns at the top. So you kind of get a burn at the bottom and a burn at the top. It also makes it more smokeless, which is kind of nice if you're, we're going to show you later how we use this also as a small little campfire. Anyway, the screen goes on the top. That's just a windscreen that helps sort of that, but it also gives you a place to put your pans to cook on. The nice thing we like about this is that it doesn't require us to bring any fuel whatsoever with us. We don't have to bring propane, charcoal, nothing. It's so small that we just collect twigs, pine cones, anything little that's just kind of scattered about the campsite, so we can always find enough things that we can burn in it in order to use it, which is what we're going to do tonight. We're just going to go around, we're going to collect some stuff, we're going to pile in here, we're going to light it, and start cooking our meal. So that's what makes it really kind of cool, is that you will never ever be camping and run out of fuel. There's a lot of other camp stoves and things you can use. We've used propane stoves, grills, propane grills. As she mentioned earlier, we use a Blackstone that we like to cook on. Those all require us to bring some type of fuel in order to use it. This one we never have to bring anything or worry about running out of fuel. If we need to have more, because we can just use the natural resources around us. We don't have to chop wood and cut anything up. What we simply do is just collect the small little loose pieces of dry wood and pine cones, any of those kind of things that are just kind of laying around, which is all it takes. It doesn't take a whole lot in order to get this thing going. Good thing we got a nice little pine cone pile over here.
True.
Alright, so we just collected some twigs, some pine cones, just stuff around laying on the ground, anything dry, basically. You can see over here I have a little extra, because as this goes down, we're going to keep feeding it, which is what this notch is for. So as you put a pan on it, you can keep feeding wood from the side to keep your fire going. If you're lucky enough to be camping somewhere where somebody has left some old wood that, from a campfire that hasn't burned completely, this is actually natural charcoal. So this is, if you're lucky enough to find this, you can use this as well. It's a great resource that you can come across at campsites. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and light it and get this thing going, and then show you guys how we make a meal.
So we got the skillet, and then we're gonna put it on the fire and just start getting it warmed up. It'll take a little while for it to warm up. So we're gonna try to cook these steaks a little bit unconventionally. I watched a guy the other day mention that steak kind of absorbs flavors in butter like a sponge does. So when you let it sit and rest after you cook it, that's when you want to season it. So we're gonna go ahead and put the steaks on, no seasoning whatsoever, and cook it like he did in the video I watched. And then we slice it up and put it on top a bed of butter and herbs and spices, and as that steak sits and cools, it'll absorb all of those flavors. I have no clue if the science behind that is something we should trust or not, but it sounded smart and I wanted to give it a shot, so that's why we decided to cook steaks tonight. And we thought no better time to also do it when we're on our Solo Stove. So we're gonna give that a shot, but we're gonna go ahead and put these steaks on the grill right now. So we did put a little bit of oil in the bottom of the pan, and then we're just gonna cook these steaks as is and see how it goes. So a while back I got this really cool knife set. It's called the Santoku knife set. And like we said, we love a good case and everything, but this knife set is pretty cool. It's got 3 knives with cases and everything right in their little spots, and then it comes with a foldable cutting board, a little scrubby cloth to wash it, and then also a little bottle to put soap in. Now I have a separate bottle for soap, so I just kind of leave it in there, but this cutting board is so cool, and I love how compact this is. This is the cutting board we're going to be using, but as you can see, this thing is pretty thin and super easy to carry. It's super light. I love it, and the knives are awesome. And yeah, I mean, I bought this, my dad bought it, and we love this little knife set. So I went ahead and prepped our butter and seasonings, and then I'm just going to take a lemon and squeeze some juice for the steaks to soak up as well. Alright, so I pulled the steaks off. They're looking so good. We're going to go ahead and put them on the cutting board and slice them up. Might go ahead and just cut them up into bite-sized pieces. Don't worry, my hands are clean. Don't freak out, guys. Okay, so I cut up all the steak, and we're just going to let it sit on the bed of butter and everything, and then we're going to slap this guy on the stove as well and just let it cook up. Okay, so now that the steaks are all the butter and everything has melted, we're just supposed to kind of toss it in it, I guess. So as you can see, it absorbed a lot of that butter. I mean, it's still going to be coated in butter, but the seasonings and everything. And like I said, the guy said that this is the way that you should cook a steak. So, I don't know. It looks pretty good, though. It is a little bit colder out here, so I think the steak definitely cooled down a little faster. But, I mean, I'm not upset about anything being slathered in butter, personally. So I'm going to go ahead and put our steak to the side. And I'm gonna go get the potatoes and everything off of the grill and put some of that on here as well. A little makeshift camp dinner. Kind of burned on the bottom, but that's okay. We like a little bit of char. Alright, it's not the most beautifully plated, but that's our dinner, and I'm excited. So, we're gonna do a taste test here in a second. Alright, final taste test. Are we ready? Mm-hmm. This is a buttery steak. I might have put a little bit too much butter on the plate.
Ooh, that's good. That's really
good.
good.
Wow. You can like taste the lemon juice I put in it too.
Oh, that's really good.
That's like the most flavorful steak I've ever had.
Yeah, that's really good.
I'm eating better camping than I do at home. This is good.
I would definitely suggest trying to cook a steak this way.
I'll do a little less butter next time, but yeah. That's good. Wow. Recipe will be down in the description just so you can take a look at how we put it all together, but that's a really flavorful steak. Wow.
Alright, now we just finished cooking dinner. We're going to show you what's kind of some of the cool things about this little Solo stove. If you can see over the top, this is a nice little coal bed that's going. This is like really nice for cooking if you really want to just have a nice even heat. Cooking just about anything. That's kind of how it sort of settles down the bottom like that. It's also great if you want to make coffee, heat up water, put a coffee percolator on there or something like that. It works really well. Like I said, the little notch over here, whenever there's like a pan or something on it, it's really easy just to feed the wood right through the side like that. But one of the things that we really like to do with this is that kind of when we're done eating, it's kind of getting dark like it is right now, we'll actually use this as a little mini fire pit. So we'll start feeding it, get it built back up again, and we're just using whatever is around. So I've got twigs, pine cones, a little bit of charcoal wood that's left over from somebody else's campfire, and just kind of get this thing going a little bit. So we're just going to feed some of this stuff in here, and we're going to show you guys just what this thing really will do when it really gets going. So, you know, if you want to make some s'mores, you know, hang out by a little small campfire, this thing is perfect for that. So, I'm going to let it get going here, and we'll show you how quickly this will really build up.
And as you can see, you can probably see it better on this side. Back in there, the fire is starting to burn the smoke, and so it's coming through the holes, and it's setting off a pretty good fire.
Yeah, and if you just keep feeding it with little twigs, like I said, pine cones, whatever you can find laying around, as long as it's dry, you can turn this thing into a nice little campfire and sit by it, you know, make s'mores, whatever you like. It's great if you don't want to like make a big wood fire in a fire pit where, you know, sometimes it takes a little while to get it going, it takes forever. This thing, the nice thing about it is that when you're kind of ready to go to bed, if you just sit, stop feeding it, and let it burn out, it'll go out within a reasonable amount of time. You don't really have to worry about it. Plus it's contained inside the stainless steel container that it's made out of, and so you don't really have to worry about, it doesn't spark. You know, we don't really have to worry about fire dangers, things like that. It's very compact, which is why we like it. So it serves a dual purpose, which is always good, especially for how small and compact it is. If you really want to stay light and keep something in your camp gear that doesn't take up a lot of space.